From the octagon fire to the studio mics, tune in weekly, we're dropping the spikes, analyzing every punch, every kick that lands. Maniacs in the game, playing with fans' demands. Ken's got the insight, Joe's got the flair, mapping out the fights will take you anywhere. So grab your popcorn, buckle up tight.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What's up, guys? Back again, MManiacs Podcast. I'm Joe, joined as always by Ken, Bare Knuckle Ken, although he's the bearded Packer fan today. So, glad to have you guys with us. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you can. Tell a friend. We're trying to make this thing bigger, and we really appreciate all the feedback that we get, all the comments, everything like that. So feel free to drop a comment, and if it's relevant to what we're talking about, we'll try to get it in there and talk about it. So obviously we just had this huge card last weekend, right? It was a little less huge because Kayla Harrison had neck surgery, right? But let's start with, what did you think overall of the card?
I thought it was a good card to start the Paramount Plus generation.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the card was helped out quite a bit by the main event?
Absolutely.
Because I kind of felt like, I don't know, the fights were good for the most part, but there wasn't. I don't know. The main event really made it for me, right? And we'll get into the main event obviously, but I also felt like there was some really bad judging on that card. I felt, and I'm not alone here, I felt Rose Namajunas got robbed.
Thank you. That's exactly what I said. I was sitting there saying to my old lady and my buddy that we were watching the event with, saying that, man, this is a real close fight. And as soon as they announced it was a unanimous decision, I couldn't wrap my mind around it. Now, I can see giving it to her, but unanimously? Unanimously? That's what gets me.
For me, it's more a matter of Natalya getting the decision. I felt it should have been unanimous 29-28 Rose. I felt Rose easily won the first round, and I think the second round, the third round, Rose started to slow down, and Natalya was able to sort of, hey, how's it going, guys? Natalya was able to sort of pick up the pace on her, and but I felt Rose should have won 2-1. I was very surprised at the decision, and it wasn't the only bad decision on the card. I felt, I think the Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong fight was a little bit more. I can understand giving O'Malley the decision a little bit more in that one, right? It was a very close fight. I personally felt Song did enough to win the fight, but I wouldn't call it a robbery. And this is about the UFC MMA. We're talking about UFC 324 that just happened on Saturday. I felt like Sean's victory was a little more explainable. He had, really good moments in the fight. And as the fight started to go, I thought Song started really strong. And then as the fight went on, he started to fade a little bit. But I felt like he did enough in the first two rounds to get the nod. But, they're never going to give you a decision over O'Malley, dude. But I felt like it was more justifiable than the Rose versus Natalya fight. In my opinion, Rose won the first two rounds pretty easily. But that's why they say no, don't let it go to the judges, man.
Mm-hmm. See, now I saw as she won the second round decisively, and who the hell was the other one? I'm drawing a freaking blank.
Natalya Silva?
Yes, Natalya. Thank you. that she had won the last round there decidedly, and I kind of put the first round up for meh
You
for
know what? That's a
for
fair take.
for whoever you decided with that one. That's why I said I could see a split decision for it,
Mhm.
but a unanimous, that's where you lost me.
Well, yeah, and I actually, going back and thinking about it, I gave Rose the first round based on more landed strikes and more. She was just more technical, but it was close, and there wasn't a whole terrible lot of action in that round. So, like, I can understand if you felt that round was close.
Mhm.
Um, I can. Okay, I still feel like Rose overall won the fight though, and I feel like she got robbed. And the unfortunate thing is this was a title eliminator, so whoever won that fight is the next to fight Valentina Shevchenko. Now, for selfish reasons, I wanted to see Rose win that fight because she hasn't been a world beater at 125, but here she worked her way up to a potential title shot. And tell me, even though you probably have a leaning of which way that fight's going to go, tell me you wouldn't like to see Rose and Valentina get it on, dude.
Oh, I'd definitely be all for it.
I think Rose is trying to make history to be a two division champion, but I also feel like Rose should just go back to 115, man. Like I maybe she just doesn't want to cut the weight anymore, and I understand it.
That's what I'm thinking it is. Because
But look at the landscape at 125, right? You're 3-3 at 125. You just lost a title eliminator, so now realistically, you're going to have to win another probably 2 fights to get back into that range, unless you fight a top contender and win, right? Then maybe you can get by with 1 fight and then a title eliminator, but it's still a minimum of 2 fights. If she goes back down to 115, she can get a title shot now. Like Tatiana and Mackenzie Dern are set next, right? She could easily step in and fight the winner. She's a two-time champion already. And there's history to be made there too, because she could be the first woman to ever win the strawweight title 3 times.
mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: Zhang Weili is also looking probably to go back down to 115. So if Zhang goes down, she's going to get an immediate title shot. She also is a 2-time champ. She could actually take that history from Rose and get the 3-time first to be a 3-time champ. And so that raises some interesting questions, doesn't it? Because 115 is an interesting division history-wise, right?
Mm.
So you have Joanna, who had like 5 title defenses, and for a long time she was considered the GOAT at 115, right? Then Rose beats her, and then Rose loses to Jessica Andrade. Then Zhang wins the belt from Jessica Andrade. Then Rose KOs Zhang, then beats her in a decision fight, right? And in that time, also, she actually did an immediate rematch with Joanna, and she beat Joanna by decision in the second fight as well. So she holds a victory. She holds 2 victories each over Zhang and over Joanna, one by knockout, one by decision, right? Zhang, on the other hand, was probably the most dominant champion that we've seen for a good while, and she's a 2-time champ as well. So, but Rose holds 2 victories over her. So who's the GOAT at 115?
Mm-hmm.
It's an interesting question, right? Like, you can make a case for all 3, including Joanna, but I think Joanna's case is sort of the weakest because she lost to both Zhang and Rose, and hasn't beat either one of them. It's not like they were 1-1 or something like that, right? But if Zhang goes back and wins the belt a 3rd time, doesn't that automatically kind of seal her as the GOAT in that division?
You'd assume so, and it's not even just for that division. Just before her last fight, we were talking about Zhang for being a possible GOAT for the entire women's division in and of itself.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, so I think with her name having a bit more pop right now to it, I think that's why you're going to get people to lean more towards her, at least my assumption.
Yeah. And I don't disagree, especially because I feel like Rose's bid up at 125 has been mediocre at best, right? Like it's three, she's 3-3. She just lost a controversial title eliminator, which she shouldn't have lost, in my opinion. But Rose going up another weight class is hard, man. And Rose has hung in there, and she worked her way up to a title eliminator. So there's something to be said for her legacy there too. But if Zhang goes back down, which I'm assuming she will, because I don't think she wants any more of 125. Like why would you do that when you can go down and be the boogie woman at 115, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Tatiana has, in my opinion, a pretty good chance of winning the belt against Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie is a very good jiu-jitsu fighter. She also, her striking is probably better than Tatiana's, but Tatiana's such a dominating wrestler. But either way, whoever wins that fight, if they have to fight Zhang, they're basically just keeping the belt warm for Zhang, in my opinion, right? And so, like, Rose could also play the long game, and she could wait for Zhang to go down, take the 3-time title, right? And then go challenge Zhang. Because if she could beat Zhang, now they're both 3-time champions, but Rose has 3 victories over Zhang. So she's sort of like, if she's willing to play like the rankings chess, like she could actually come out on top of this whole thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just something I was thinking about. But the card overall I thought was good. John Silva and that. What did you think of that John Silva Arnold Allen fight?
I thought that one was pretty good. It didn't leave too much of a memorable impression. With it, granted, it was the first fight, and that might be why, because how much of a memorable impression the main event left.
Mm-hmm.
But I was happy with the decision in the moment.
Yeah, I definitely thought John Silva, won rightfully. But Arnold Allen is a tough son of a bitch, dude. He's a tough dude. And I told you that going in. Like Arnold Allen is not. He's not someone to take lightly, man. Like, and so I'm not surprised he didn't get finished. I thought he did a really good job the first 2 rounds of keeping Jean Silva from landing anything really major, like a fight-changing blow. Like he did a really good job with his in and out movement. And in the 3rd round, his coach Faraz Sahabi told him like, "Hey, go flat-footed. Like we don't want you gassing out." And he ended up losing that 3rd round. But Faraz told him like, "We're up 2-0. Don't worry about it." And then he ends up losing the fight because he lost that 3rd round. So, was it a mistake by Faraz? Maybe you can never assume that you're up 2-0, But I kind of feel like I understand because, he's telling him, we don't want you to gas out and get finished in the 3rd round when we're doing this good, right? He knows his fighter better than we know his fighter. So, but with that said, Jean Silva just got a big win over a top 5 or 6 contenders, so he's back up in the rankings, in that title shot air, and I really wouldn't mind seeing him and Volkanovski get it on because he has the power to finish Volkanovski. It's just, can you handle the speed and everything that Volkanovski can do? Because Volkanovski is he's an amazingly well-rounded fighter, right? He just does everything really good. So let's get into the main event, without further ado. I'll let you go first. Like, what did you think of the main event?
Man, it was a damn good main event. Patty went out there and showed he's one tough son of a bitch, because Justin Gaethje went out there and played plastic surgeon the way he went and rearranged his face like that. It was a very good fight, even though that Patty, I drawing a blank for some reason. Patty he got his ass kicked and looked like Frankenstein after. I thought he did a good job of, even though he got hit with some absolute hammers, he still avoided some absolute hammers too. It's just this unfortunately robs us from what we have been wanting to see for a while now. And I figure I would just take this time to announce exactly what Ilya said after that fight. Did you happen to catch what Ilya tweeted after?
No, but I'm pretty sure he was shit talking Patty.
His exact words, little sausage, the only thing you had to do was beat a 38-year-old guy. You just lost the biggest paycheck of your life. You were going to get rich if you won. Justin, all I can say is congratulations. And I'd like to tell you to get ready, but you're screwed no matter what.
Yeah.
It, I want what I want to know has this beef with Patty bled over so much into Ilya that he's just now accepted being the bad guy? If he has, I'm all fucking for it.
Oh, he's going full heel. Like there's no doubt. He's definitely pulling a heel turn right now. But see, I let you go first because I have a bit of a different take and I have a bit of a rant. But
Okay.
you know, I'm gonna start by saying this a disclaimer. Okay, Justin Gaethje won the fight. I'm not trying to make an argument that Patty won the fight, but I am gonna say this: those eye pokes were absolutely egregious. And the first eye poke, okay, I can let it go because
That the
it
thumb one
didn't
was
change the
bad.
course of the fight. The thumb one in the second round, let me tell you why that changed the entire trajectory of the fight. Patty was clearly winning that round. It was one of his best rounds in the fight. He was winning the round with his movement, his striking. He was landing good shots and he was avoiding the big shots from Gaethje. We never, like, nobody ever thought or nobody ever expected that Patty was going to be like the one hurting Gaethje, right, on the feet. Like, so I'm not saying that he was hurting him but he was clearly winning.
I was gonna say there were a couple of times that he got him fucking stunned.
Yeah, later in the fight he did, right? But here's my thing. That eye poke, that second eye poke with the thumb, where Gaethje threw a jab, but the thumb just raked completely into the eye. The ref, number one, didn't stop the fight and give Patty time to recover. Gaethje landed a bomb right hand right behind that and dropped Patty. And so not only did Patty take some serious ground and pound damage that like really fucked him up. I mean, he almost got finished, right? But he lost a round that he was clearly winning, and now he's compromised for the rest of the fight. Like, I didn't like the way that went down. Like, props to Patty. He didn't make excuses in the post fight. He said, no, Gaethje won, like 48-47 is a fair card. I agree with him. I thought 49-46, two of the judges scored at 49-46. I felt that was wide. And I felt like there was a really good argument for Gaethje to at least have a point taken away after that second eye poke.
I could see that one. Take the point away.
So if you take the point away and you don't have crazy judges who go 49-46, all of a sudden that fight's a draw, right? I think a draw, I don't know if that's fair because, like I said, Gaethje had really strong moments in the fight. He won the fight. I'm not trying to say that Patty won the fight. What I am trying to say is I really hate that the fight had to go that way. Like, I wish that Patty didn't end up on the losing end of two egregious fouls that compromised him for the rest of the fight and no punishment whatsoever. Like no kind of like interference from the ref. And especially the second one, because the second one, that ground and pound damage that he took in that round, you can't tell me that didn't linger for the rest of the fight, dude. You want to talk about how his face looked like Frankenstein? That's a good reason why, right? Like, he got fucked up on the ground in at the end of that second round, unjustly, right? So I think it's bullshit, but I also, it wasn't enough. Gaethje, from what I saw, Gaethje was winning that fight either way, dude. And one thing that really frustrated me with Patty's game plan, like Gaethje managed to front face lock him a few times, and he just laid on him with that front face lock. I was just yelling at the television, like, roll, motherfucker, roll. Like, you have a chance there. He's got you in the front face lock. You can at least try to grab his hand and roll into try to pull guard or something, right? Get a leg on him, something to initiate that scramble that could actually give you a chance, right? And for whatever reason, whether Patty was just compromised because he couldn't see, or because he was afraid of jumping guard because he didn't want to get ground and pounded, whatever the reason is, Patty just refused to try to do that. And I felt like when I saw that, I was like, yeah, he's not going to win this fight, dude. So props to Gaethje. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. He fought a good fight other than the eye pokes. I do want to point out, this is not the first time that Gaethje has benefited from eye pokes. Like he's kind of known in the circle now as an eye poker. I'm not going to call out Gaethje individually. There are quite a few eye pokers in the UFC. What I am going to say is, at what point is the UFC going to fix this? Like, at what point is the UFC gonna make it like automatic with like point deductions, disqualifications, things like that? I get that it's gonna ruin a lot of fights.
I was gonna say, because you got to prove that it's intentional for doing something like that.
No, that's a misconception. And I'm not like knocking you for saying that, because most people believe what you just said, that you have to prove it's intentional. No, a foul is a foul, whether it's intentional or not.
I can see for taking the point but for disqualification.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should disqualify him the first time, but what I am saying is the first eye poke should be a point. At the very least, a hard warning, a very hard warning. Like, if you have any further fouls, you're losing a point.
That I can agree with, is the hard warning for it. Because unfortunately, with the design of the gloves and how you have to have it for the grappling aspect, that's going to lead to some of the eye poke shit. Now, granted, do you have assholes that take advantage of it? Absolutely.
John Jones, Daniel Cormier.
But
no, Daniel Cormier, a notorious eye poker.
Yeah, no. With it, yes, with that. But what I'm saying is, how are you going to get rid of it without hampering the sport?
I actually think it makes the sport better. Not in the short term, but in the long term, and I'll tell you why. In the short term, yeah, you're going to have fighters getting disqualified, losing points, losing fights on fouls, and nobody really wants to see that, right? Nobody wants to see a fight decided on the scorecards by a penalty point, right? But if enough fighters get penalized, guess what? They're going to go back to the gym and they're going to work on keeping that thumb tucked, or they're going to work on not opening their hands when they throw that punch because it costs them in real time. Right now, we have the opposite of that. We have good fights being ruined because there's no penalty for eye pokes. Justin Gaethje, tell me exactly what happened to Justin Gaethje for those eye pokes. He got one warning. Not even the second one didn't even get called. Mm-hmm. So Mark Goddard, like I usually think Mark Goddard is a pretty good referee. He absolutely dropped the fucking ball that time.
Yeah, but he wasn't off to the right on that when that happened, to where Patty's face might have covered that up a bit, and it might have just looked like a regular punch to him.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's his fault, because the referee is supposed to be in a position where he can see the action at all times. Like, I'm not willing to let Mark Goddard off the hook for that. And the reason that I'm not is because that was so instrumental in how the fight ended up going. Like, I already said Gaethje won the fight. Like, I'm not trying to say that Patty won the fight or that he should have won the fight. What I am saying is, anybody who can look me in my face and say that second eye poke and the damage that he took after it had no effect on the fight is a fucking liar. Patty was compromised from that point on, dude. He's got an eye poke in each eye. He got ground and pounded damn near into a fucking powder, right? Like,
That,
I mean,
that I honestly think had more effect on the fight than the eye poke. That granted, yes, it came from the eye poke, but that type of severe ground and pound, because we watched his head get dribbled off that mat like a basketball 2-3 different times just in that sequence alone.
and so thank you, because you're just making my point for me, right? Like, and what happened to Gaethje? Absolutely nothing. There was no penalty. There was no. He didn't even get a warning. And now, so you see what I'm saying? Eye pokes, in essence, eye pokes have been incentivized because there's no punishment. You can eye poke a guy twice and you'll get a warning, right? Like, this is why I'm saying they have to change the rules about eye pokes. I'm not lobbying for every foul to be what I'm lobbying for is specifically eye pokes, because they're so damaging and changing to the fight. Like, I would have a zero tolerance policy. Like, if you eye poke once, I would take a point, because it's, hey, you know what? You don't like it? Don't eye poke. Like, keep your hands closed like you're supposed to. You eye poke twice, you're disqualified. Straight up. Like, there's no, and this is why I said in the short term, it's gonna fuck up some fights. But in the long term, it's going to make fighters fight more clean, and you're going to see better fights, because you aren't going to have a guy like Patty trying to fight not only against Justin Gaethje, but fight against a guy like Justin Gaethje completely compromised from eye pokes and damage that he shouldn't have taken because of a foul. Like, I'm saying that I just want to make it clear, because I know there's going to be somebody out there that's like, oh, he's just bitching, making it seem like Patty should have won. Gaethje won the fight. I'm not saying he didn't. 48-47 was a fair card, more than fair in my opinion. Like, Gaethje should have won the fight. But I think we would have got a lot better fight if those fouls didn't happen. You know, I still can't see Patty winning. Like, Gaethje was just, every time he was hitting him, he was damaging him, dude. Like, Gaethje was just too much for him. I get it.
And I just got to bring up here, if that's what Gaethje did to him, and we know Gaethje's a hard hitter, what the hell would Ilya have done if they had gotten to the match? And as long as Patty wasn't fully in his mind, I think that's the only shot that Patty actually had, was to get Ilya completely compromised. Because if Gaethje did that with his fists versus Ilya that has dynamite attached to his arms, I think that might be what gets Patty knocked out. You see what I'm getting at, right?
I do, and I don't necessarily disagree. Like, I think that there's a very, very good chance that Ilya will knock out Patty. But I think there are certain factors that are different between Gaethje and Ilya. Gaethje has a much longer reach than Ilya. Gaethje is much bigger than Ilya. Ilya is a small guy for the division. Like, he's not, and he has short arms. Like, he's very good in phone booth fighting, right? He needs to get in close to you to land those short hooks. Patty has a tremendous length advantage on Ilya, right? So I think Patty could find a lot of success doing the same thing that he did to Gaethje, with, like, playing that long game and striking and striking and striking. But it's, again, if Ilya manages to get in even once, you're going to sleep. So,
and I was going to say, how many times have we seen people try to play a bit of that long game with Ilya, and he just works his way in no matter what?
Well, I don't think we've seen people try to play the boxing game with Ilya and lose. We've seen Max try to stay on the outside, right? But none of those guys have the reach that Patty has.
I'll give you that.
Reach matters, dude. And especially if you can use your reach effectively. One thing that I didn't like from that I saw from Patty, or that I didn't see from Patty. He used leg kicks, but he didn't use any kind of push kicks, any kind of side kicks, things that would keep Gaethje at a distance, that score and keep Gaethje at a distance. I was very frustrated with that. Like,
Mhm.
I really think Patty needs.
See,
I'm not
I
going to
would
say he needs to change gyms, but he needs to add a striking coach who understands how to use his length.
Is it just that? Is it just that it's that, or is it the fact that Patty's kind of been inflated up the rankings a bit? Not saying he's a bad fighter and all that. What I'm saying is did he get moved up a little bit too early? That he's kind of facing competition outside of his zone right now. You get what I'm saying here?
I absolutely understand what you're saying, and there's lots of people saying that. They're saying, oh, he was artificially put up the rankings, this and that. Uh, Look, it's a fair argument. In all honesty, Patty has kind of been pushed up the rankings because he's a very popular guy.
Mm-hmm.
But based on what I saw in that fight, I absolutely think he deserves to be there. Like, I think both things can be true. I think he could have definitely gotten the Conor McGregor push, but I also think that he showed that he deserves to be there. That I think he showed he's a legitimate top 5 fighter.
Yeah, now I don't think it's not that he deserves to be there. I think it's more, is he seasoned enough to be there? If you get my distinction between the two.
He's 31, man. He's not getting any younger.
Oh, I didn't realize he was that old. I thought he was in like his late 20s.
Yeah, no, he's 31, man. He's this is about the time where you hit your prime. And look, there's no shame in losing to Justin Gaethje, man. Justin Gaethje is a Hall of Famer, like, and he's been in some every single fight Gaethje has been in has been a fucking war. Like, he even hit Khabib with shots where Khabib was like, "Nah, fuck this, I'm taking him down." Like, you know what I mean? Like, and Khabib even said that. He's like, "Yeah, dude, he hit me. He hit me a few times, and I was like, yeah, fuck this. I'm not going to play this stand-up game with this dude. I'm just going to choke him out." You know, like, so Khabib, Gaethje, like, there's no shame in losing to a legend who's, you know, he's starting to show signs of being washed, but he's still got it. He's still got things that brought him to the dance.
Mm-hmm.
I think this loss will help Patty in the long run, because I think it'll help him to work on some glaring holes in his defense, in his striking defense. But it's an interesting thing, because I actually like the prospects for Patty. I think it's actually better, as crazy as it sounds, I think it's better that he lost this fight, because Gaethje is going to go and get absolutely fucking tanked by Ilya. Like, it's not even, dude, that fight's going to be, it's going to be fun while it lasts, but it's not going to last long, dude. So it's like a round, maybe 2, you know, like maybe into the second round, and then it's over. So what I actually could see happening, and if I'm Patty, I'm like, I like the way the landscape is looking. Ilya is going to knock out Gaethje, and then I think there's a decent chance that Ilya moves up to 70 to chase Islam, because Islam doesn't have long left. And Ilya, if you think about it, what is Ilya really after?
Legacy.
Exactly. Why do you think he gave up the featherweight belt so fast to go up to 55? He wanted Islam, because he wants that scalp. Like, and with Islam, it's personal. Like, I'm not saying that he personally dislikes Islam, but I'm saying he has chosen Islam. That is his chosen scalp. He wants to be the one to knock Islam out in front of the world.
It is what we are seeing from Ilya right now, with the heel turn that he's making. Is this Ilya positioning himself to do the full court fucking press of the heel to get Islam out there to finally fight him? Because don't forget, and I know you haven't, but for the sake of reiterating it on the show, is there's a lot of people that believe that Islam has been ducking and hiding from Ilya. And if you take that full heel turn and start calling out that guy, like we were talking about with John Jones and what's his face there?
Who? Tom Aspinall?
Yeah, Aspinall. Like how we were talking about that Aspinall needed to do that full court press for being a heel. I think we're seeing Ilya set himself up for that.
Look, I could 100% see Ilya starching Gaethje and in his post-fight interview saying, Islam, it's time to stop running. I'm coming to 70. And like, you know, you better not go to 185, motherfucker. Like, you know, I'm next and you're going to fight me. Like before you retire now and give up the belt and then the whole world will know that you're afraid of me, or you fucking give me my shot.
Like, I would be all for that. And you already know how I'm a pretty damn big fan of Ilya now. If he does something like that, that's probably going to cement this guy is, if not my all-time favorite fighter, he's up there freaking fighting for it.
Fair enough. I'm not a huge Ilya fan. I respect his skills completely. You know, I've said this. Like, there's nothing bad that I'm going to say about the dude. I wasn't on the bandwagon then. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon now. You know, like to me, that would be kind of like disingenuous to be like, oh, I'm an Ilya fan now. Like, no, I'm Team Patty, bro. Like, and I can, even being Team Patty, I can say that the odds would heavily favor Ilya, and it would take something special to happen for Patty to win against Ilya. So what I'm hoping happens, and what I think, it's not just hope. I could actually see a path. Like, how long does Ilya really realistically want to stay at 55? I mean, if you think about it, he just knocked out Charles viciously, right? Like, viciously. He had to step away for these family issues, right? He knows that Islam is on borrowed time. Like, Islam's already like 35. He's going to retire very soon, like within the next 2 or 3 years. Like, he's got a few fights left, right? So if I'm Ilya, I rush the timeline now. Like, what better way? Think about it. You at featherweight, you knock out Volkanovski, you knock out Max, then you go up to 55, you knock out Charles. We're talking about legends here, bro. Charles is a legend at 55, right? So you go from 45, where you knock out Volkanovski, the absolute GOAT, then you knock out Max, the other GOAT, then you go to 55. Actually, I think he knocked out Max at 55.
That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, because Max went up for that fight.
Yeah. So you knock out Volkanovski at 45. You knock out Max, Gaethje, and Charles at 55. Like, and Gaethje is the last one. I could really honestly see Ilya saying, dude, like, I don't have to stick around and defend the belt 6 times. Like, look at I just starched 3 of the biggest legends in the division. I'm going up to 70 because I want Islam's scalp. Like, Islam is going to stop ducking me, and he's going to get in that fucking ring with me, dude. Like, and that raises, I mean, does Islam give up the belt? Islam is not big enough. Islam is not big enough for 85, dude. He cannot do 85. But it would be awfully telling if Ilya calls him out, and then all of a sudden Islam's like, you know, I'm going to try to capture a 3rd title at 85.
I think you got a better chance of seeing the John Jones route of, oh no, you know, I'm going to retire. I had a long enough career. There's nothing in it for me for this fight, and everything for him. So why would I do it?
Okay, he could say that, but nobody would believe that. And I'm telling you why. Because with Aspinall, John Jones actually has a point, right? Aspinall, let's be honest, he's a very talented fighter, and he's the best. He's the best of the heavyweight division by a country mile, but he's beaten a bunch of bums. And so as far as legacy goes, John really doesn't have all that much to gain other than beating the next new thing. that you can't say the same for Ilya. Ilya is already approaching that legend status if he's not already there because of how he, not just who he's beat, but how he's beat.
I was gonna say, because I, at least what sticks out for me is not only knocking out Oliveira, but the way his eyes read tilt from that. And this is a man that has the most finishes in the UFC.
Yeah.
At least at his weight class, but I think it's for the entire UFC.
I think it's for the entire UFC.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And you did that to this man who just went out and fought after and won, and is already starting a bit of another run. So you can't say it was the ghost to Oliveira.
No. Although Charles is nearing the end of his career.
Yeah. Yes, I will absolutely give that he has that Ilya has beaten a couple of guys that were nearing the end, but it wasn't like they were a fucking cakewalk.
No, they're not washed. They're not corpses. Like he didn't do the John Jones Stipe route. Like, he fought them while they still had some fight and while they were still, they may not be in their prime, but they're just out of their prime and they're still really good fighters, right? So the argument that Islam could potentially try to make about, well, I don't really have anything to gain, falls flat, because you're talking about legend versus legend, and you're talking about, like, if Islam can win that fight, what does that do for his legacy, dude?
I think it makes him the GOAT and moves him above Khabib.
I definitely think it moves him above Khabib, because Khabib never, ever had to fight anybody like Ilya.
Mm-hmm.
Khabib, as great as Khabib's record was, Khabib had a bunch of bums on his record too, dude. Like, I mean, he beat Gaethje, he beat Dustin Poirier, he beat legit legends. I'm not taking anything away from Khabib. He's awesome, dude. But Khabib never had to face a threat like Ilya. Like a guy who, he faced McGregor, and McGregor had the hands, but he didn't have the ground game too. And Ilya has the ground game too.
Well, and I mean, McGregor had hands and all, but he doesn't have the devastating knockout power that Ilya does. Not saying that McGregor didn't have knockout power, but not at that level.
I don't know, man. McGregor had legit one-punch knockout power with that left hand.
See, I don't think it was the power that was knocking people out. I think it was his absolute perfect timing. I think he has the perfect timing out of any fighter we've seen.
Okay.
That I will 1000% give you. I just don't think that he... Now, when I say this, I'm making an argument like on a 10 scale between 9 and 10 is what I'm talking about here.
I could be, I could be
hey
willing.
There, Fred.
I could be willing to come to that side of it and say Ilya might have more actual power than McGregor. Because when I'm playing it out in my head, I'm remembering that the Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz fight, the second one, and McGregor landed a lot of good shots. When we think of McGregor, we think of those one-punch knockouts, and I think you're right. Timing is a huge part of it. I can't see anyone standing up if it was Ilya throwing those shots that McGregor landed on Diaz. I think even Diaz might fold. Like, I can't see. So yeah, punch for punch, I think Ilya might have the power advantage. That's a fair argument. That I just want to say, if McGregor would ever get off the sauce, like, I would love to see McGregor and Ilya go at it, dude.
I would have, but I think McGregor's been out of it a bit too long and getting soft in Hollywood. Granted, yes, I know he's all juiced to the fucking gills and all that, but how much training has he been doing? Like, actually,
that's the thing. I don't want to see Conor coming in off a 6-month cocaine bender. I want to see Conor coming off of 6 months of living in the gym, getting dedicated. And I'll tell you something. As crazy as it sounds, and as crazy as Conor's coke addiction is, I could see Ilya being the guy that could bring Conor McGregor back into the gym. Like, if you accept that fight, you know what you're getting into, right? Like if you're gonna go,
you're only accepting that fight for two reasons. One, that you're going to go out there and really give it your all. That this is what it's going to take to bring you back to your glory days. Or two, you're doing it so you can buy more cocaine because that guy's going to absolutely smash the fuck out of you.
Yeah, I agree. It's either A, you're taking a beating for a paycheck, or B, like I'm going into the lion's den. I need to train. Like this is going to be the toughest fight of my life. And but the reason I say that I could see Conor actually being interested in that fight is because Ilya is sort of getting the shine that McGregor had, and Ilya is working his way up to that almost McGregor status, like. And now he's pulling the heel turn at the perfect time, right? Now he's turning into a bit of a shit talker, and yeah, I think if they could make that fight and they could make sure that Conor McGregor actually trains, that it would be a fantastic fight. And it would instantly sell 4 million pay-per-views. Like even casuals know who Ilya is, and casuals especially know who McGregor is. And if you could, I think a big selling point on that fight was if they were actually the behind the scenes documentaries that they make where they show them training and stuff. It's like, if you see Conor out on his yacht, people are going to fucking tune out. They're going to be like, he's just taking a beating for a paycheck.
Or if you see fucking Conor looking like Dan Campbell after a game.
Yeah. Then it's like, okay, he's going to be, he's going to take a beating for a paycheck. Yeah. But if you see Conor in the gym hungry, like, ooh.
Now my other thing with that is that the super fight and all that, but how much has Conor lost from his age on top of being out of it too? This fight, now granted, we're talking super freaking out there shit. If we could get a time machine and get Conor from 5 years ago to come up to Ilya, oh, absolutely.
I'm thinking it'd actually have to be closer to 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like Conor from like 2016.
So Pete fucking McGregor.
Pete Conor, yeah.
Okay. I'm all for that.
Pre-Floyd Mayweather.
Yep.
Conor.
Yes.
But
when he was still hungry.
Yeah, you're never going to get that unless Conor makes the decision himself. But what I'm saying is I think, and I don't think it's a large chance. I don't think it's the majority chance. I think Conor's too far gone at this point, like in the addiction and in the lifestyle. But if there was ever any one fighter who could bring McGregor back to the gym and get him hungry again, I think Ilya would be it. Because that fight sells itself, and Conor will be up to his neck in cocaine for the rest of his life off that fight, dude. Like, it's for all the marbles, bro. If Conor could come back after so much time out and use his timing and starch Ilya,
that just skyrockets his legend.
His legend, bro.
You took a man that already had a meteoric rise and now just added a fucking jet propulsion at the tail end of it.
Bro, he's to the moon.
Yep.
So, more realistically, we're looking at Islam and Ilya, right? Like, yeah. I really believe there's a good chance that after he knocks out Gaethje, Ilya is going to call out Islam. And I think he should. I think it's the time. I think you need to keep it in people's minds that this guy is ducking you. Because, look, one thing about Islam is a very humble dude, but even humble dudes have pride. And if you're consistently putting it out there in the universe, this dude is ducking me. He doesn't want no part of me. Like, why did he jump up to 170 when I came to the division? He's going to hear that in his circle, man. He's going to hear, like, and no matter how confident Islam is, he might really believe, like, brother, I'll smash this guy. Like, he's nobody, he might really believe that. But he sees. Do not think he doesn't watch Ilya's fights. Do not think that he hasn't studied the competition, right? He knows what he's up against. He knows. So if I'm Ilya, I want to keep his name in the media. Like, I want Islam. Why is Islam ducking me? Why won't Islam fight me? Every opportunity I get, I'm throwing that out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Because, yeah, I think his 55 run ends right now. But what I was going to say about what's interesting for Patty in that is if Ilya goes up, right, after he starches Gaethje, well, guess what? Now Armin is going to get the next shot, and it's going to be a vacant title. So Armin will get the fight against somebody for the vacant title. You could have Armin versus Patty, although Patty's coming off a loss, so I don't think they'll give it to him. But Armin's going to fight somebody for the belt, and then you get Armin. Eventually, Patty. He's not everybody in the division is Gaethje. Like not everybody hits like Gaethje.
Mm-hmm.
So I like Patty's chances against the rest of the top 5 in certain ways. Like there's certain matchups that I favor. So what I'm saying is if Ilya leaves, Patty's path to a title doesn't look so bleak.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance. And honestly, I would love to see Armin Sarukian and Patty fight. Because Armin has been talking so much shit about Patty. And like Armin swears that he's like indestructible or something, dude.
Oh yeah, he sits there and talks a whole bunch of shit about Ilya, saying that he's ducking him. Now, granted, there's a little bit of smoke there, but I don't know if there's actually any fire. Because, like you said, I think he's got his sights set on Islam, so Armin's not even on his radar.
Beating Armin doesn't do anywhere. I won't say it does nothing because Armin is the number 1 contender. He's a good fighter, an excellent fighter. He's the clear cut, should be the next guy in line for a title shot, but it does nowhere near for your legacy what beating Islam does. Mm-hmm. So if I'm Ilya, Armin can kiss my ass, dude. I don't care what he says, dude. If he wants to, let me fight Islam. And then if he wants to come up to 70 and fight, or maybe after I beat Islam, I'll come back down and fight him at 55 and take his belt too. Like, okay.
Now that would be a perfect way to end his career. Just sitting there hopping around the division, just taking everybody's belt. Okay, well, now that I've got a nice collection here at home, now I'm going to go into boxing.
No, see, I mean, possibly, but I don't.
Well, no, he's already said he wants to go.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think Ilya is going to stay at 70. I think he goes to 70 specifically for Islam, and that's it. I honestly believe even if Ilya goes up to 70 and he beats Islam, he won't even defend the title. He'll give up the title as soon as he wins it. It's all about beating Islam. He just wants the legacy. He wants the rub from Islam to take Islam's shine. Like, that's what really matters to him is the rub, the legacy. Because no matter what, he's still going to be a 3-division champion. Whether he defends that belt or not, he's still, right? He won 3 belts in 3 divisions. He beat Islam. He beat Charles. He beat Gaethje. He beat Max. He beat Volk. Like, then he can go down and he can deal with Armin, Yeah. The unfortunate thing is that we may not ever get the Patty versus Ilya fight now.
That's kind of what it's starting to look like, and that might be the best thing for Patty.
I wish I could tell you that you're wrong because I love Patty.
But you can't.
But I
because that one comes with actual facial reconstructive surgery.
I mean, dude, Patty, I'm not ready to count Patty out. I'm not going to say that it's absolutely impossible for Patty to win.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to say he's got 0 shot, but I think that
it's definitely unlikely.
I think it's a good 95% fucking for Ilya.
I may not even say 95%, but it's definitely in the 80s, probably like 80% chance. Like, and Ilya is going to be a huge favorite on the odds. He's going to be like minus 600 or some shit. And Patty will be like plus 450. Like, it'll be a huge underdog kind of situation. But
before we run out of time, there's also another UFC event Saturday.
this Saturday,
Yeah,
what, UFC Fight Night?
we got UFC 325 this Saturday.
This Saturday?
This Saturday.
I thought it was next month.
No, it is not.
Damn, dude. I'm glad you told me because I would have missed it. So that's Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez, right?
Yep.
And what read the rest of that card down to me.
Your co-main event is Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis.
That'll be a good fight. Both of those guys are brawlers, dude.
Then you got Rafael Fiziev.
Fiziev. Yeah.
And then Marcio Ruffi.
Oh, the Hoofy versus Fiziev fight, dude. Oh, that's going to be a barn burner, dude. Like, Gaethje just fought Fiziev like last year, and he won by decision, but Gaethje couldn't finish Fiziev. Fiziev is an animal, dude. So Hoofy's got his work cut out for him. But if Hoofy can, what is Fiziev ranked right now?
Hold on, I gotta go to my rankings.
Because Fiziev is coming off a win too, I believe.
And what weight class is he?
55.
He's number 9.
Fiziev is number 9?
Yep.
Okay. So if Hoofy can win, he'll crack the top 10. And isn't he already in the top 10?
No.
Maybe he dropped out because he lost that last fight.
Yeah, Hoofy is 14.
Okay, so if he can beat the number 9, he'll probably be 10 by the time they're done, right? I like Hoofy a lot. He's on his way up, and so it's going to be interesting. And that's going to be a hell of a fight because Fiziev can grapple, he can strike, he can take a fucking punch, dude. Fiziev, even Gaethje couldn't get him out of there. So what's the next fight?
Is Taliesin Texeira versus Tai Tuivasa? I have
Tai
no.
Tuivasa.
Okay.
Okay, so you know Tai Tuivasa. He's the Kiwi dude. He's the dude from New Zealand or Australia who does the shoey. He drinks the beer out of the shoe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tai Tuivasa, dude. Like he's a beast, but he's also very limited. Like he's an excellent brawler, but he's his ground game leaves a lot to be desired. Taliesin Teixeira, on the other hand, he just got stopped in his last fight. I think it was against Derek Lewis, and it was kind of a controversial stoppage. Teixeira is tough. That's going to be an absolute banger of a fight, dude, as long as it lasts. Is that the last fight?
No, you got Jamie Malarkey versus Quillen Skullkid.
I don't know. I'll have to look. But either way, dude, you got some good fights on there. I'm not terribly enthused about the main event because we already saw it 6 months ago. And, unless Volkanovski has just fallen off a cliff, I don't know what Diego Lopez is going to do differently to change the outcome of that fight. But we're out of time. It's 12:59. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for commenting. We'll see you guys. Have a good one.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook, YouTube, where the action's slick. Daily shows that drop like a bomb. From 10 to 11, it's Ken and Ken, stay calm. Huddle up, catch the vibe, feel the rush. Get your news, get your fills in the clutch. Over 27 podcasts, we breaking it down. Join the team, Huddle Sports, wear the crown. Live every weekday, it's how we roll. Lions Talk with Jeremy B, we taking a stroll. From 11 to 12, don't miss a beat. We break down the game, make the info sweet. The Daily Huddle Podcast, noon to 1. CST Zone, we're just